The follow-up is simple. Ask a question, listen to the answer, then follow up. I'm your host, Noah Kozlov. Enjoy.
Hi, and welcome back to another episode of The Follow-Up. I'm Eden, and this is my dad, Noah, and every week we sit on my bed and have a conversation about something I want to talk about. And this week, we're going to talk about Omicron and COVID and what might change.
But first, can we talk about that tooth of yours?
Oh, yes. I have two wiggly teeth on top. One is insanely wiggly.
Uh-huh.
But I don't want to show how wiggly it is because it's scary how wiggly it is.
It's scary how wiggly it is?
It's scary.
It's not scary. Go ahead. No! So you've lost the two bottom teeth.
Yeah.
And now you're going to lose that top one.
Soon. I hope this week.
That's wild.
I hope this week. I don't want it hanging in for a week.
All right, so let's talk about Omicron. And
there's a surge of COVID-19.
Right, so it's everywhere in New York.
Yeah.
You've gotten your two vaccines. You're past your 2-week mark. Mom and I are boosted. I've been traveling a lot to a lot of places that don't really take it as seriously, to be honest.
And not as many people are vaccinated.
Right. The classic New York situation. We just got tested. Out on the street corner. so what was that? Yeah. So just explain that experience. Yeah.
Okay. So we all start from the beginning.
Okay.
So we start waiting in line for 10 minutes maybe, and then they're no plans until 3:00.
Because they were going to lunch from 2 to 3. Right?
So we went to the park, and then we get back in line. And on our corner, it's I'll explain where we are. So there's we're here. If this is the corner, we're right there. We're there. So that's past one store. That's past FedEx. So now we're at Just Salad. I believe that's why you're saying that, and we have to go past Blink Fitness, and then past the Shake Shack and turn there.
Right. Okay. But
the corner.
But explain it's not a store. It's not a storefront.
It's not a store. It's a truck, and then they have all the stuff
in
it. Yeah, it's a van.
With a curtain.
And then, yeah. And then so there's just this table that has one hand sanitizer on it, and then. So, once you wait in the line for an hour or 15 minutes, you go up, you just get tested.
But first first when the guy came through the line to make his list of who was in line, we had to fill
out a form.
Right, we had to fill out the form with insurance information, license, all that stuff, date of birth, yeah. And
then you just walk up. Well, after we lie for an hour and 15 minutes.
And it was pretty cold today.
Yeah, that's 75 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot. And then, I think it was 37 degrees.
It was chilly.
Yeah, and then, so we had to wait in line, and then once you got tested and left.
Right.
Which, it's so crazy that you had to, wait in a really long line, and then it's testing takes 2 seconds, and you just go.
Right. And it just tickled, didn't it, right?
No, it just tickles. Testing tickles all.
So I thought that it was pretty appropriate that in New York, so many things are done on the street corner. We get our fruit from the guy on the street corner. So we get COVID tested on the street corner.
No, everything's on the street corner.
And I remember saying to Mom in line and to you in line, do you know exactly how this works? How legitimate this is? And I said, no, but they're everywhere. Because when I went to look at different, were you trying to suck that tooth out now?
No,
okay.
There's
because I went up to around the corner to see the lines at some of these others because there's a few tents and another van.
And there was one that you saw.
But they were the line was just as long, and then the other guys were leaving for lunch. So
everybody's leaving for lunch.
But it seemed and they do rapid tests and PCR tests, so I guess it's legit. I guess. I I guess so. I hope so. But the good thing is that in school, that if there's a case in your classroom, that if you're fully vaccinated as a kid, you can go to school.
Right.
As long as you're not showing any symptoms, you can go to school.
Right.
Which is great, so that you don't have to be missing school anymore.
Just because one person in class.
Right.
It's COVID.
Right. Exactly. So how do you think things are changing around here?
Well, since a lot of people got vaccinated, I feel that they did loosen up the rules in New York City because a lot more people were getting vaccinated. But I feel like that just when you still have to know what you're doing when you're loosening up the rules, because if you're saying you really don't have to wear masks anymore, let's just say that was the rule, it can still spread. It's going to spread even more now. Even though people are vaccinated, it's going to spread more. One, because not everybody's vaccinated, and two, because it's your mask and you spread it by the germs in your mouth. So and that also gives you more flexibility to be with other people.
Right. So more people just getting together indoors, even though you still have to
show
your vaccine card. To get inside somewhere, at a restaurant, age 5 and over, you have to show your vaccine card. But things spread all different ways. I mean, it could have come in from tourists who are visiting, or just unvaccinated people here in New York, or from around the country. Who knows?
But also, I think we have to be careful on people coming in from other countries, because that just spreads more, because that's why I think Omicron might have come in.
Maybe. But also, but also I do think it's the winter again.
It is the winter.
We went over, when was that? A year ago? 2 years ago? I don't even remember anymore. But so
that was
more,
technically 2 years
so
ago.
more people are indoors.
Right, that was technically 2 years
together.
ago.
Mm-hmm. So people are more are indoors together again, and we just had Thanksgiving. So now after Thanksgiving, now more people
might be traveling for Christmas or the holidays.
Mm-hmm. So then there's going to be another surge probably in January, and just the issue is
and also New Year's. I feel like
yeah,
parties,
the holidays.
Also parties on New Year's that people have at their house. So.
It's just it's exhausting.
It is exhausting. Hearing about this every day on the news, over and over and over.
Right, and the problem is though when something like that is exhausting, and you hear about it over and over again, you start to become, and no pun intended here, immune to it. That you don't even hear it anymore. But
what's immune?
Immune. So if you become immune to a disease, to a virus, that means your body fights it off. So if you become immune to something, it's a saying that something's on the news all the time, then you just become immune to it. You don't feel anything. You don't how you see every morning there's a fire somewhere in New York City.
Right.
After a while, you start to feel oh, okay, another fire.
Right.
Whereas in the beginning, you might have felt oh my God, there's a fire. Is everyone okay? And we should feel that way every time, but we naturally just don't.
Day.
Right. So, but that's a problem. And when these cases are rising and hospitals are being overrun, we can't let our guard down in those situations.
But also, we don't want to be like we're in the beginning. In New York, in the beginning, hospital beds were filled.
Mm-hmm.
There weren't any other spaces. But I feel like when new variants come in, that's what happens again.
Yeah.
So I feel like we need to do a better job of taking care of other things and knowing what we're doing and what might happen by doing that. Taking off our mask outside, and not wearing it outside. If I'm around other people, what might that cause?
Right. So we need all those studies. If I'm outside and I'm
around a lot of people.
Right. Can I be that close to somebody? And
but if I'm outside, just taking a walk, but I'm not near anybody, really, it's right.
I think that's okay. But what about in school? When you have your mask on, and you're distanced. Is that okay? Yes, but then you're at lunch with people and your masks aren't on, and then that's the troubling part.
Right.
But until there's, I mean, I feel like there should be enough data now and case studies now to be able to figure this out. But like, look what's happening in the NBA.
I know. In the NBA, a lot of the players. How many players are in COVID protocols?
So we're recording this on Sunday. There were, as of time when we were recording this, there were 65 players in protocol, and
wow.
Yeah, and some have had it already,
right? And
have their shots, have their boosters, and getting it again, and there were 5 games canceled today.
What do you think about all of this happening, and how do you think they should solve this problem? Okay, that's like a hard question.
Yeah, it's a loaded question.
It is.
Pausing the season.
That is crazy because they're just in the middle.
Right, and now.
And also, how would they do that?
Well, Christmas Day is the biggest day in the NBA regular season calendar, but a lot of these players aren't going to be healthy for those games anyway.
Most of the games will get canceled.
I have no. I just don't know. There's no solution here. They just need to monitor the health and safety of the players, and if it's coming from if it means getting the fans out of the building, is that where things are coming from? Yeah, exactly. Getting the fans out of the building, starting there.
Starting small and then building bigger.
Right. The players themselves, they're not going to go back to that bubble situation. That's not going to happen.
I feel that they should start limiting fans, not taking all of them away because they still should have fans, but starting small with fans.
Making sure that they're masked.
And make sure they're masked. And so limiting them, making sure they're masked. And I think the players, maybe they can still, they definitely can still travel, but I think they shouldn't be traveling to, I don't think, let's say, New York, travel, all the way to California. I think they should travel to states that aren't, so far away from them, that are, closer, so they're not, going too far away from, where they're supposed to be.
Right, which they did for a while last year. They would take those trips, they would play, all right, we're going to play 2 games here, 3 games here, we're going to play all in this region in one time before going cross country.
Maybe, if New York, then they go to Brooklyn.
Right, but the problem is with this.
But then for Brooklyn, they go to, a little farther, but then they just go,
maybe
there.
Philadelphia or something. But the problem with that is these arenas are all booked by hockey games, basketball games, concerts. So you don't have the freedom to change the schedule right now. It's not possible to change the schedule. So it's a logistics nightmare.
It's a but I feel next time for next season, or if this, this will probably still be going on, I think they should plan the season now of where the players are traveling, like they did last season, by okay, they'll be here, and then they're going here, and then they're going
regionalize it.
Regionalize it. And then maybe if they're the Clippers can go to Los Angeles, and then they could go
what other? Well,
and then maybe
they play. Or so the Clippers, so the Clippers could
and then
play.
Maybe they can go
up to Portland or, the capital of California, the other team out there. So Clippers, Lakers are in LA. Go up north.
Portland.
Sacramento
Kings.
You play Golden State Warriors in San Francisco.
Yeah, what's the team again?
Oh, the Raptors?
Yeah,
but the Raptors are all on the East Coast. That's East. Remember, the Raptors last year played all their games in Florida. Because they weren't allowed into Canada. It's a mess.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's a mess.
They need to find one solution that they're going to do to keep the players out of COVID and to have a safe season. But that would be pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, and what they need to do is to make sure that the players themselves are actually okay. It's not just he got COVID, but he'll be fine. Do we know that they'll be fine?
Right.
What are the symptoms? Are the players willing to, and the league willing to say, okay, yeah, we're willing to get this virus in order for the season to go on, and we're just going to live with it. And there are a lot of moral and ethical questions to go along with all the financial stuff.
And also they need to have like a big meeting where they plan all this out, and it just like goes through thinking, or multiple meetings.
Well, I'm sure they're meeting. I'm telling you, they're on the phone every day, every hour.
Well,
yeah, every hour. But again, it is just exhausting.
Yeah.
How are you holding up? Like some, like I know some disappointments.
How so and what?
I don't know, like
NBA wise?
No, not NBA wise. Well, I mean NBA wise is a different story.
Well, NBA wise, I'm disappointed because I love watching basketball.
Right, and you don't get to see the best players every night.
But yeah.
Right, like the Sixers tonight would have had 5 guys. It wasn't gonna happen.
You can't play with 5 guys with the first string.
You can't play.
Who are they even playing?
I don't know who the Sixers are playing tonight.
Okay, but if they were playing another team that had 5 guys.
I call it a practice. But just with everything else, with just all this still going on, school, friends, etc.
I feel that I think I'm going to describe it. That when I'm doing things, I think we're doing a good job. But
Good job on school?
And I feel like at my activities.
Oh, activities, yeah.
But definitely at my activities after school, I think we're doing a good job wearing masks and stuff and being social distance, especially in dance, because we have spots on the floor that are separated for dance spots in general, because you can't dance with someone like this close to you. Mm-hmm. So I think that's good, helpful. And other things that I do are spaced out. Fashion desks are spaced out. So I think we're doing a good job. In school, I think we're doing a pretty good job.
As well as you can?
Yeah. As well as we can keep, I think, what we can do in school, that is what we're doing. But I think there are other ways that we can, that we could, but we can't right now, because that's not an option.
Like what?
Like being even more social distance and at your tables and stuff, I feel like.
Oh, you could be separated.
Like also, like, maybe like having those face shields back, like we did.
Those dividers?
Yeah, but that wasn't my favorite.
Yeah. I don't think those, I don't think they actually helped.
No, because it's like one.
I mean, it does like actually keep the kids away from each other.
But I feel like that's a good tool. I mean, like that's a good tool for social distance.
Yeah, right.
Like.
Yeah, it does. It does.
It does help.
Yeah, I guess it does.
It helps that way, not like covering your face like that face.
Yeah, right. It just makes makes kids stay away from each other.
Yeah.
But for you now, and we should wrap up in a moment.
Yeah.
But does it feel all this just is like?
I feel like
it feels normal.
It feels normal because I'm used to it, because I've been used to it for the last 2 years.
Right, it's been going on since kindergarten.
Yeah. Since the end of kindergarten. What do you feel like? How do you feel like with everything?
I still feel like every day.
Are you used to it?
No, and every day to me is just like out of a movie.
Just like
there are points
just
there.
Another day.
There are points every day that I say to myself, I can't believe we're in this position. Like I just can't believe that this has happened.
It's just like another day of the movie that never ends.
Never ends. I just can't believe that we're still in this, and that so many people have died, and like the world is upside down, and I don't know what I think about your future. I think about our future. I think about way too many things every day. I think.
Maybe you break down what you think of every day, but that's pretty hard to say. Yeah.
Tooth still in?
Yes, my tooth's still in.
You want me to wiggle it out right now? Okay, I love you.
Okay.